Okay, everyone. Well, welcome. If I didn't just see you pop all up, welcome to the first ever virtual Condors happy hour. So if you're just joining, just keep your video off for now. There might be a point here during the call that we'll be able to get everyone's video up. Might be some surprises here during the proceedings. So for those who don't know, Ryan Holt, broadcaster for the Condors, pleased to be joined by head coach Jay Woodcroft and winger Joe Gambardella, who's returning for next year as well. Jay's still here in town, and we're going to find out where Joe is. Joe's part's unknown right now, but excited to have Jay and Joe with us here. So first off, just Jay, what have you been up to? I think that was the question on everyone's mind was what's going on and how you staying busy. Timothy asked that one, but what's been kind of going on here for yourself here over the last month?
Well, my family and I have partook in a lot of homeschooling for our kids. We learning what a difficult job teaching first grade is, but just trying to be good citizens, listen to what the authorities are saying in terms of quarantining and spending some time at home, but also spending a lot of quality time outside, trying to exercise and going for long walks with our kids and playing a lot of soccer. And just a lot of really good family time.
And Joe, I see you're traveling. Obviously back in New York, but what's been going on for the Gambardellas?
Yeah, so currently I'm in an RV, my father-in-law's RV. We're heading upstate Saratoga. Not a whole lot, just been trying, like Coach said. I have a little brother-in-law that's 9 years old, so I try to help him out with his schooling. Along with my sister-in-law, she's going to be a senior next year. I wake up in the morning, try to get a little run on the outside, and then do a little bit of schoolwork, and then try to keep up with my Stride to Greatness hockey company, try to keep kids engaged throughout these difficult times.
Yeah, let's start there. You first off, commend you for it, doing a great job with what you call the Frontline Hockey Challenge. I know it's a cause near and dear to you, especially with your brother, but just take me through kind of the Frontline Hockey Challenge, how you came up with it, and what it was all about.
Yeah, so I partnered up with a good friend of mine and also business associate, Ryan Swain, who owns Swain's Hockey Skills and Development. And we figured not everybody can get outside or do small hockey exercises and stuff. And we see a lot of people doing a lot of good, whether they're making masks for other companies or donating food and such. So we decided to come up with our own little hockey challenge and have people donate to the frontline workers at hospitals in both Staten Island and New Jersey. So what happens is the players post a video of themselves coming up with their own creative hockey at home workout. And then once they're done posting it, their parents send us a donation. And so far we've raised over $1,000 to deliver food to the hospital frontline workers on May 15th.
That's fantastic. And, I know your brother's a NYPD officer. How's he doing, especially in New York City, during this crazy couple of weeks here?
Yeah, he's taking it day by day. New York City is obviously a really big hot red spot right now, but he wakes up every day and takes all the precautions necessary. They walk around with their gloves, their masks on and everything, and they're still doing their job. And I credit them and all our other frontline workers who wake up every day and, battle just to keep us safe and healthy, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Jay, you mentioned turning into an elementary school teacher here over the last couple of weeks. What's been maybe the most difficult thing about having to teach every day? Are the kids teaching you? I know with the new math and everything these days, it's a little difficult, but what's been going on in terms of teacher Jay Woodcroft? What's professor like?
Well, the first thing is I'm more of the assistant teacher. My wife Jackie takes the lead. She's a teacher by profession originally, so I'm there for support. And and helping coach the kids up a little bit. But there's a lot of work through some programs on their iPad for their reading components. They've done a really good job of mixing in some Zoom type meetings to keep the kids connected to their classmates. And then the math, my kids have been working very hard at their math. And what I really like too is they're asking all the students to have a journal and journal some of their experiences here during these strange times, but also not only doing that, but giving them a few themes to write on. And so anything I can do to help foster a little bit of their creativity, I try and do. And I think one of the things that I'm learning, not only during the quarantine, but just as I'm working my way through fatherhood here, is you learn how different your kids are. You learn how people learn at different rates and they respond to different types of teaching techniques. And I think, and I've said this before, I think it really helps me become a better coach just as I work my way through fatherhood here with my twin daughters.
And so fans, as you're kind of jumping into the chat here, you can use the chat function, which if you're on a desktop is kind of right in the middle of your screen, and kind of hit the chat button and we'll make sure to get some questions. We've already gotten a couple and had some folks from social media submit us some questions. But Joe, you had you mentioned strange times. Your wedding was coming up here in July. Kind of what's going on with the wedding? I know Jenna's with you, but what's happening?
Yeah, no. So obviously planning a 350 guest person wedding isn't exactly the easiest to begin with. Being Italian and having big families and everything on both sides, and right now everything's on a halt. I've discussed with my in-laws and my family and stuff, and we've decided to kind of push everything back a bit until we figure out exactly which direction this is going. And there's one thing I know for sure, like I love her and we're gonna get married at some point. It's just a matter of when and where exactly. So we're currently exploring other options right now in terms of maybe doing a small one, just me and her, driving up someplace. Her grandparents have their big acreage, upstate in Saratoga, and there's a chance that we might get married on our grandpa's island. But everything's kind of in perspective right now with all this going on, and we don't really know which direction it's headed.
As a newly married guy, I can tell you that I wouldn't be able to do what you're doing right now with all the butterflies and waiting and all of that. But yeah. It's great to hear everyone's good, certainly. Rebecca wanted, maybe this one can go to Jay. Just her question was, do you foresee hockey returning, the hockey season returning? You can kind of take that as, what types of things are you doing hockey related wise maybe right now as you kind of keep the ball moving here until we actually physically get back into the arena?
Well, I think the big thing as a coaching staff down here that we've tried to do over these 6 or 7 weeks is we've tried to stay connected with our players. So we've had group phone calls, there's group texts, there's been individual phone calls and whatnot, just to make sure that we're spreading the message to our players that our job as professionals is to be ready and to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to stay ready for when the time comes that hockey does come back. You throw in the tragedy of losing a very important piece of our team in Colby Cave, and there's been a lot of emotional phone calls to our players and trying to work through that. I can tell you that's one of the hardest things about that entire tragedy is the fact that we weren't together as a team. Colby ended up passing away on what would have been, I believe, our last regular season game in Bakersfield. And for us not to be together as a team and for our young men to have to work through that in these type of crazy times has been difficult, and that's a big reason why we tried to stay connected to our players and making sure that they know we're there for them. In terms of projects and staying mentally sharp, the coaching staff hold regular weekly phone calls, and we spend a lot of time looking at our game and looking for ways to improve. We've had a lot of really good meetings in that regard as well, and that's basically how we're trying to manage this situation as it plays out here.
And Joe, I know we've gotten a lot of questions as well too on Colby and what he meant to the team and what he meant as a person, but as a teammate, as a guy who is a good friend of Colby's. Just your thoughts on Colby and obviously being able to carry on his legacy a number of different ways here moving forward.
Yeah, no, Jay really hit the nail on the head there with saying how Colby, he's really an unreplaceable kind of guy, and his every day was something special to be around him, not just on the ice, but at the rink, and his attitude and just the way he went about life in itself. He really brought different attributes to not just the game of hockey, but just life as a whole. And he was really somebody we all enjoyed being around. And it's sad in that his life was cut down at such an early age, because he really was somebody special. And our thoughts and prayers still go out to Emily, his wife, and Cave's family as they go through these difficult times right now. But we let them know that they are not alone in this battle as well. And we all miss Cave very, very muchly. And he's a player that will be missed, not just in our locker room, but in life.
Yeah, and for those who haven't seen, the Oilers and Emily started the Colby Cave Memorial Fund as part of the Oilers Community Foundation. You can go on to EdmontonOilers.com and make a donation. The Condors, and I know a number of players have as well here over the last a couple of weeks, to be able to support Emily and to support some initiatives that Colby and Emily were a part of to begin with, even before obviously this tragedy. So just a great thing that Emily's doing, being able to carry on Colby's name. Joe, we'll start rolling in some fan questions. Mike wants to know your favorite pregame song or maybe a genre that you like to listen to right before you head out onto the ice.
Yeah, that's a good DJ is Jake Kulovich on game days. So whenever he decides to spice up in the locker room, usually changes from game to game and such. But if I had to pick personally one that I like, it's Till I Collapse by Eminem. I've had that since I was a kid in youth hockey, around like 10 years old, and kind of carried my way up through the ranks.
All right, I like it. Jay, your favorite game or memory maybe you've had during your time in Bakersfield, a game, a memory, something from the last couple of years here in Bakersfield that's really stuck out and kind of brings to your mind just the best here over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I thought two times that I don't think I've heard an American League arena that loud ever. The first one would have been as we extended our win streak, our historic win streak. Cooper Marody scored in overtime versus Ontario, and just a fantastic goal, and the place erupted. I thought that was great. I thought clinching a first-round playoff victory versus Colorado last year. It was a full building, and the way it happened, kind of the last 15 minutes of the third period there, we took the game over, and how loud the building got and how proud the community was of that group of players. And then, in that same playoff run, we had a do or die game in Game 5 and Game 2 at home, and we went to double overtime, and in a series that had featured something like 7 overtimes. But so went to the double overtime, and we scored. We scored on a face-off. Josh Curry scored on a face-off, and the place erupted. And I think you showed me the next day, Ryan, how there was a live video hit, and it just so happened that the person that was talking back to their studio was able to catch that live, and you really got to see the building erupt and the fan base extremely happy.
Yeah, and Joe, kind of the same type of question. Gianna wanted to know, the best part about playing in Condorstown. You've been here a number of years now, and coming out to California and really acclimating yourself to Condorstown and to Bakersfield.
Well, first, Bakersfield is home to us. My fiance Jen and I love it there, and everyone has really welcomed us into the community as a whole. And there's so many wonderful memories that I have from being in Bakersfield, from the start of when Jay came in and really turned things around, and just playing in front of like that crowd, like Coach Jay said, is something special. I say it over and over again, but it's really like having an extra man out on the ice for us. When you can have a building that erupts and an atmosphere that's so wild and so crazy, and it really is a huge factor for us, because we know when we go into other teams' buildings, there's nobody that's like playing in front of Condorstown, and it's a huge factor that I think teams kind of get intimidated by. And so I would say definitely our home crowd. I think that the win streak was huge. We've had, like Coach Jay said, we've had a couple of close games with San Diego in the playoffs there. Even in San Diego, I think game 3, we were down 0-2 in the series, and we kind of needed the win on the road. And William Lagesson got the overtime winner. And I think it was within the first 6 minutes of the overtime that we ended it, and everyone was kind of like shocked, because the game before that we'd gone into 4 or 5 overtimes, and we thought if it was going to carry on like that, we weren't going to make it. But there's been a lot of great memories, and with the coaching staff, Jay, Coach Mentz, and Coach JF and Sam Kim have really built down there, and we're just really happy to be a part of it.
So we were talking about fans and energy, and it looks like somebody joined the call here that wasn't invited. So, sir, who are you?
Hey, I heard there was a party in Condorstown. I didn't want to miss it. What's up, everyone? How you doing? What's up, Condorstown?
Cameron Hughes, everybody.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jay, Jay, what's up? There's Joe. Woo-hoo! Let's get her
Love
going.
it.
Let's go. Woo-hoo! Those are the old days. These are the old days. Oh, yeah, playing for the Oilers. Let's go. One more for you, Jay boy. Let's go. Woo-hoo!
I like it. Well done.
I heard you guys were having a party, and I wasn't invited, and I'm like, I called Colonel Claude, and I got the little, like, the secret meeting thing. Oh, look, I'm Joe. I'm big shot hockey player, big shot coach. It's like, come on, let's party. How are you guys?
Good to see you.
Cam, what's going on? How's everything down in LA?
Well, everything's good. I had to pivot. So now I'm a professional Zoom crasher.
Good. How are you?
My guidance counselor was really proud of me before. Now he's like next level proud of me. Jay, how you been, man?
I've been good. I've been holding my own, trying to be a good citizen here, and quarantining, and lots of homeschool.
For you or your kids?
Well, both.
And how are you keeping Joe and guys like that in line? Like, do you have like weekly Zooms with the team, or how does it work? For real?
Yeah, the Zoom weigh-ins don't work as well as they do in person, but that's how we're trying to keep them.
Joe's on this call. If you want to just tell him not to be so lazy. What's up, Joe?
How are you, Cam? Good to see you.
Yeah, man. You too. It's I've been part of the Condorstown for, I think it's hard to remember, like almost 16 years. So it's so cool for me. Like, I'm writing my book, and I'm working on my book, and my editor said, I need more Condorstown. I need more. Because it's awesome. Been like all the cool stories that, I've been part of, from fans making me food to getting to meet players to, Jay, maybe now's a good time to tell the fans what we do before the game, our little secret thing, or should we keep that?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, throw it out there.
Should I tell everyone?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I put my headphones on, I do a little dance, and I run down to the coach's locker room. I come in, I'm like, come on, boys, are we fired up or what? Jay comes over and he whispers some motivational words into my ear, and I whisper some words in the ear, and he goes out and you guys kill it. Jay, is that close?
Hey, that's pretty bang on, and I would say this. You work hard to make sure you're ready to go. It's impressive the warm-up you put yourself through. Really impressive.
Well, Joe, I mean, I was going to ask Joe a question just thinking of that. Like, your body must have healed in the last 6 weeks, right, in a weird way?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because, I mean, it takes a toll, right? It's insane.
Yeah, well, like your body goes through a lot of ups and downs throughout a 68-game season, and lucky enough to work hard enough to get into the playoffs, you know. And
yeah.
Your body takes a lot of injuries, a lot of bang-ups, little knots and bruises that you got to take care of. But that's what our trainers are there for. And
you guys have quite a good gym, too.
Yeah, we love our gym. We think we have the best one in the AHL.
They won't let me use it for some reason. I don't know. Large plus-size models aren't allowed. Hey, Joe, can I wasn't on the call earlier, but since I'm going to take over this entire thing just for the next 2 hours. I'm kidding. Joe, in all seriousness, I'm going to ask Jay too. What's your one fan moment experience being on the ice or outside of the game that you like? If someone says, what's Bakersfield like? What would it be for you? On the ice and then off the ice?
On the ice, preferably when the game's over, and whether we win or lose, no matter what the outcome is, and we see how many fans are still sitting around waiting for us to salute them. You know, that to me, that goes a really long way. It just shows how deep and how well supported and oriented the organization is, but more so the community as a whole. So I definitely think that is one of them. And then another one is just being out and about in the town. You'd be surprised at how many people actually recognize you and come up to you and saying like, oh, hey, you a Condor? Like, you know, or like personally like, oh, the beard looks familiar. Like you play hockey or anything like that. Like, you know,
you're the only player that wears his actual jersey out in the community, right?
Yeah, I'm solely the only one. I'm trying to get other guys on it, but I wear it on the golf course. I wear it to the grocery store. You know, you can't catch me without it. But
that's not weird at all.
I'd say that's you. No.
That's not weird at all. Jay, what would you say? I love that, Joe.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird that Joe would wear his equipment in the community too.
I gotta break a sweat somehow.
And with rollerblades, like going shopping.
No, you know what? I think the fan base here is it is very passionate about not only the Condors but the game of hockey, and it was something that we started out and we talked a lot about it as a team, and that we wanted to make this community proud. We wanted to show them high level of hockey at the American League level, and for me, like I said, a high point for me was some of those overtime wins and how loud the building gets. And then, we had the long winning streak, and then to be part of the first team to make the American League playoffs and do well in them, real proud of it.
Do you remember after your first home win what I did?
I can't remember. What did we do?
Wow, that hurts.
It was a blur.
I might be crazy, but I have a big heart. I came into your, I think I left it on your desk.
Oh, a shirt.
The last t-shirt from the game.
Yeah.
The first AHL game with the Condors.
I do remember that.
And I signed it with hearts everywhere. No, I'm kidding.
That still happened. I wear that out into the community.
Cam, you can't see it, but it's framed on the other side. It's framed. It's off camera, though.
Oh, yeah.
On the right side of the wall.
There.
Yeah, the gold medal, the Stanley Cup ring. It's on the other side, yeah.
You'll get there, too. And, Jay, what about in the community?
Well, for me, the community it's interesting how many people, if they do recognize it, they want to talk the sport. Yeah. And there's a knowledge behind what they're talking about. And a passion, and I think it's a real sneaky type of knowledgeable hockey community
Yeah.
that most people wouldn't know that about this community. But hockey's been here for a long time.
Yeah.
There's a real good youth hockey with the arena right beside where we play, and some really good former players that have built up the program. So for me, it's a like there's a lot of people that take a huge interest in the game, and I like talking hockey till I'm blue in the face. I'll talk with anybody about it just because I'm real passionate about what we're trying to do and about the sport. And so it's just like I said, there's a lot of people that are interested in hockey here. So I'm pumped when I get to talking about it.
Well, I mean, also being part of the Oilers now and having all the great players like Joe that are, just getting better every game. People get excited by that, right? You see the guys, who are really trying to,
Yeah. I think
exciting.
I think when you see people move up the food chain in the way we've been able to graduate people to the highest level, and for them to have big impact. For Joe, it was 2 seasons ago where he got his first call, and he was, I think he played 15 games. Joe, is that right?
Yes, 15 games.
Yeah, 15 games. But we moved a lot of guys up for their first time ever, which we're proud of. And then to see the impact some of the guys like Ethan Bear and Caleb Jones and Tyler Yamamoto and Patrick Russell, the impact they had on a team that did very well this year. I think that's a byproduct of trying to do it right at this level and graduating people up, and it's real fun to see as a coach. And I know we have a real tight-knit group of players, and they're real excited when guys like Joe get their first call up, or when you see them doing really well.
Hey, Joe, I don't know where you're parting, but I would love to be there. Who? Thanks for not calling, eh, buddy? You still owe me a beer after your last playoff game. By the way, the night you guys won, was it last year or 2 years ago? The first 2 years ago.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
When I went out with you guys, that was truly one of the most memorable. It just showed me, and I said this to Jay a lot, and I know people in the Oilers, and I know a lot of the Condors. The tight-knit group that you guys have as a team is I've been around. Trust me, I have 250 jerseys behind me. It's something special, which is it doesn't just happen like that, Right. So well done to Jay and the guy, and everyone for putting character guys like you together. But my question for you is, because I'm now the host, forget Ryan Holt.
I'm just hold on a second. Hold on.
Oh yeah. Joe.
Yeah.
Who called you when you got your first call up? And where were you?
In terms of how did it happen?
Yeah, how did it happen? I'm
so I remember it very vividly, very detailed. We had just lost to San Diego in overtime at home on December 29th, and December 30th, my fiance dropped me off at the rink for a road trip. I believe we were departing for Ontario.
Yeah.
And we go in, as we usually do. We grab a little snack, grab our bags, and jump on the bus. And as I was getting ready to walk on, Jay was right there by the door and said, "Gambo, come with me real quick." And here I am thinking all right, it's my fault we lost in overtime, or what did I do so wrong, or something along those lines. And as we're walking back, his words to me were, "I'm very proud and honored, Gambo, to tell you that you've just been called up to the NHL." And,
Jesus,
I still get goosebumps still today. And I literally just couldn't stop but drop. And, as a tear ran down my eyes, I was filled with so much excitement. I ran back into the locker room, got my stuff to get off the bus, and then called my fiance, turned around to come get me back at the rink. And, then I called my mom and dad, and
good for you.
It was amazing and special, and it happened so quick. The next day was New Year's, and my younger brother happened to be graduating the NYPD Police Academy that day, and his first shift was New Year's Eve at the ball drop, so they couldn't make it. But my fiance got on a plane, and 12 hours of a travel day, made it for the game, and went back the next day.
That's amazing.
It was Still
Good for
sits
you,
here.
man. I admire all you guys and your passion, and Jay, I admire like what you put into it and your beautiful girls. Hi, girls. Buddy T-shirt guy.
I think Bryn and Emma have joined us. Hi, girls.
Holty, I know you got a show to do, but I wanted to say hi.
No, listen. I'm
miss
getting paid to
Bakersfield.
be here, and you're just doing everything. So I'm fine.
Well, I brought some old jerseys from back in the day.
Oh wow, look at those.
You're really running the gamut now.
Look at this one. You see if you remember this team. Look at that.
Oh wow.
You want to know something crazy? I'm going to make a confession here. This is what they paid me the first year: a jersey and an Alexander Dago hockey stick. I did not joke. I was like, yeah, sounds fair. Negotiated up. And hey, Joe, you know this team?
Oh my God.
Yeah?
Not-
Phoenix
not-
Roadrunners?
Yeah, not far from.
Yeah.
The Roadrunners?
Yeah.
How about this is a great weirdest arena and a great logo that they didn't last.
Jay would know that one.
Yeah.
Cow
The
Cow Palace.
That was the weirdest arena ever, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
What a jersey.
Here I got two more. No big deal. Look at look at this one.
Wenatchee Wild, North American
Whoa.
Hockey League. I like
Yeah.
it.
And this is the killer. Like this is when you wonder who designs jerseys for a living.
Oh, Louisiana.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Remember
Wow,
this team?
nice,
You guys
coach.
Remember this team?
yeah. Jay, you would have played them, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Back in the day. Yeah, that was a good
Wow.
good team.
Jay, you played against these
Yeah,
guys?
I think way back in the day, I think so. That was a pretty prominent franchise, I think, back in the day.
The first game I went to, they had 12,000 people. They're doing the chop in Lafayette, Louisiana. And then they invited me back 8 years later, and there were 650. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Did everyone get the dance? No. I got a lot more. I could do a show and tell later, but
No.
I wanna say hi to you
Stay
guys.
on, Cam. You're doing good. I'm fine with it. But Jay, one of the questions was, and you talked about your playing career. What got you into coaching? What made you want to make the leap and jump into the coaching aspect of things, and what kind of keeps you coming back year after year?
Sure. As a young guy, I try to pride myself on being a student of the game. And so in trying to figure things out, and it probably got the coaching bug when I was 13 or 14 years old. I would work at a hockey school, pretty prominent hockey school in Toronto called Seneca College Hockey School. And lots of players in the Toronto area came out of there and also worked at that school. And one of the benefits of working at that hockey school in the summer times was that you got to skate in a really good skate with some good players. So that was one of the benefits. But I enjoyed passing on my knowledge of the game and my passion for the game to younger players. And that started at probably the most grassroots of levels, which is in hockey schools in summertime, and leading groups of young people and trying to get them to improve their skills and have fun and put the work in. And over the years, as I played up through minor hockey and junior hockey and NCAA, and then in the minors, I would still do that in the summer times, just because I really enjoyed that aspect of things. And I can tell you, when I went on to becoming more of a professional coach, a lot of the skills that I learned in trying to teach a young player something or to try and work on a specific skill, I brought with me into my coaching of players in the National Hockey League or the American Hockey League. There's hockey players are hockey players. And, I think for me, that served me well. And I think Joe's kind of, beginning that with his business, Stride to Greatness, in the summer times as well. But to me, that's really where the beginnings of wanting to become a professional coach, that's where it started.
I like it. I got to go back to my paper here that I ripped in half. So hold on a second here. Let me.
Wait, hold on. Do the coach and Joe have any questions for me? Because I gotta go soon. I got another Zoom crash at 5 o'clock.
I want to ask you something. I want to know, what is your favorite NHL building you've worked in, and what's the favorite American Hockey League building?
I like it.
Oh, wow.
I like the question.
Is this going to affect my book sales?
No.
It's recording.
Vegas Golden Knights for the NHL. You know, I know it's only 3 years old, but I've done 46 games there. And I posted a video yesterday from May 4th for the May 4th Be With You. And the crowd around me was like, they're next level. Have you been to a game there yet, Joe?
In Vegas?
Either guys? Yeah.
I've had the privilege of playing in Vegas twice the season before last with Edmonton. And
Okay. I mean, and remember how many Oilers fans were there? It was crazy.
Yeah.
ridiculous, amazing.
Yeah, I was there. I was with Edmonton during the first year, and
Yeah.
you know, I think they do such a great job of game performance and game operations. And
Yeah.
it's rocking. It felt like a playoff game.
And I can get away with a lot more there than I would at, you know, Rogers Place or any other arena.
Thank you.
AHL obviously would be Bakersfield. You know, I mean, there aren't many cities, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, I've done 65 games, I think, Ryan, something like that.
It's got to be at
Back in the
least.
day,
We'll check the media guide.
Yeah.
You have your own.
I got one, Cam.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite one in Bakersfield?
Probably the two quick ones. The first one, when they were like, the first one ever, when they were like, Matt Riley and all the guys were like, who is this Yahoo? Like, honestly, they literally were like, here's a locker room, good luck. And by the second period, Riley's like, can you come back next weekend? So I remember that. And then your overtime game. I mean, I think I quit by the end of the second overtime. I was just like, I can't physically do this. You know, that was insane. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, for sure. Oh, and the game that you won, too. Sorry. I mean, you only asked if you won. Then there was a time I met my girlfriend. No, I'm kidding.
Cam, I'll give you my favorite Cameron Hughes one. You came to field trip day, I think your first time or second time, and gave what I think was like a 15-minute long speech to the kids during intermission. And I thought that was great about following your dreams and you know, being passionate about what you believe in and listening to your teachers and.
Well, thanks. I mean, I've been one silver lining for me, back to me, if we could. I felt like we were drifting to you guys.
Yeah, we were sprinkling it a little bit.
I mean, honestly, why are people on this anyhow? Is I'm writing my book and I've like taken the foot off the gas to make sure I get it right. And it's like, as you guys, Jay and Joe and Ryan, you know, you're at the end of the day, I look at my whole story and it's like, what has mattered to me is the connections. Is that I can go and give Jay a hug and go, excuse me, good luck, Jay. You know, you got this. Or meet the players after for a beer and have those connections with the fans and the crowd. And I've seen their kids, you know, in Bakersfield from 6 years old. Now they're in university or married with kids. So it's that connection that, you know, keeps me going personally, like what makes it like worthwhile. Because every game could be like, oh, another game, right? And Joe, you know that every game you got to get up for it. But something in that game happens for you probably. Maybe you learned something new. Maybe you made a play that you never had. But that's what keeps it exciting. And for me, it's the connection.
Awesome.
Cam,
are you jumping off, Cam, or what?
Yeah.
Or
I got a busy night. I got some books to read behind me.
You got a lot of
Cam, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, Joe, man, it's great to see you. Jay, I miss you guys and can't wait to see you. All the best. We'll see you soon.
I can't wait to read the book. What's the name?
Yeah,
of it?
me too.
I can't tell you, but
I better have a copy of it next year.
You'll get
the
wholesale pricing.
They better be on our dry stalls.
Hey, everyone in Bakersfield, thanks for always being so great. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Cam. Appreciate it.
Bye, Cam.
So we just had a couple more questions from some people rolling in here while Cam was taking over. Jay and Joe, we'll start with Jay. Just how much more special, I think, is it going to feel to kind of get behind the bench and get back with the team, especially, you know, going through something like this where, you know, sports has kind of been stripped from you?
Yeah, I think during these times when and it's not just me, but it's everybody in their field of work. Everybody's itching to get back, and when you have something that's outside of your control, which this is outside of our control, affecting your ability to do what you love to do. The next time you get to do it, it's going to feel that much more special. And we talked earlier about we've had some difficulty during this pandemic time with the tragic loss of Colby Cave and not being around each other. That was a very difficult thing for our team. First with the loss, but then not being able to mourn or grieve together. So the next time this team does come together, I know that I'll be very appreciative of the time that we do get to spend together because of all the uncertainty that this pandemic has led to.
And Joe, just along with that, Jay mentioned, getting back together and getting the group back together. I know you've been following along. You're a guy who's already under contract for next year, which is fantastic. But seeing guys like Brad Malone and Luke Esposito and Jake Kulovich, and I think the fans, if you don't get me in trouble for saying it, I'll give you tomorrow's announcement. Jacob Stuckel's also coming back, but please don't put that out there. That's a happy hour exclusive. But Joe, just in being able to get a lot of guys back from the past couple seasons from last year to be able to go at it again, it's a special group.
Right, absolutely. And first off, congratulations to my four good pals on re-signing and coming back. Obviously we're thrilled to have them. But yeah, like Cam was saying, we're a really tight group, and you probably heard a lot as like a cliche, but the group that we have in Baker Show is an extremely tight one, and we're all really fortunate enough to get along, hang out outside the rink a lot, whether we're doing team barbecues or team sporting event day. We're all connected as one. And Coach Jay said, you're really going to really appreciate what we do beforehand. And you hear this growing up a lot. You never know when your last game is going to be or when your last day at the rink might be. And I think a lot of people are going to start really taking that into consideration and really starting to appreciate what we do more together than we did before.
I like it. Now we get fans filing in on who are we re-signing and all of that. So that's great. So Josh Curry contract, that's not done. But also, Jay, just in terms of just the team building aspect of things, it's kind of a strange situation as a coach and with the management group, just because the NHL, AHL, everything's still kind of in flux, and you're kind of looking towards next year or what's going on, and you can't really do much during this time in terms of trying to lay out how you're kind of building moving.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part for everybody is that you're always trying to look to be able to control the situation. And right now, the virus is controlling the situation. And, like we talked about earlier, the biggest thing for us as professional hockey people is to make sure that we're doing everything we can to stay ready. And that means mentally, that means physically. And if you do that and you're worried about just taking care of what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, eventually, we're going to get that call that hockey's back on. But up until that point, the only thing we can do is make sure we're trying to stay ready.
So I'll go with one more question for each of you. We're so thankful to have you guys. I think we've gone 45 minutes here. It's been great. So we certainly appreciate you guys. But one question coming in, Jay, just maybe one or two things in terms of challenges that you face this season that you can learn from and grow from as you go into next year and you look to try and to build on things. What kind of things do you take away from this past season in terms of just the flux of the roster to be able to still have that cohesiveness and obviously still win hockey games?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of lessons to be learned from our year this year. I thought we left some points on the table earlier in the year when we might have deserved a better fate or needed to be able to capitalize early in the season and get points. I thought a lot of our younger players got good minutes. As we worked our way through the season, there were some tough times, specifically in the month of February. But there's a lot of bright, bright things ahead, just based on some of these younger players. You think of our goaltending situation. Stuart Skinner has gained some great experience. As a younger goaltender, you work your way up through the D-Corps. Evan Bouchard and Dmitry Samorukov got prime minutes, specifically down the stretch when we were battling injuries and there were a bunch of recalls. And then up front, some of our younger first-year players got some big minutes. So what we're putting our focus on is we're going back. We're studying where the areas that we felt were strong. We're identifying areas that we think we can get better at. And the managers are putting a lot of time and effort into building our team going forward and addressing some of the needs that we might have. And led by Keith Gretzky and Ken Holland, they're putting a lot of serious work into this. And we're determined that when hockey starts up again, that our team is going to be a factor in the Pacific Division.
And Jay, I know you got the grill going tonight. What's on the grill tonight for Chef Jay?
Yeah. For Chef Jay, I'm taking care of our all-star video coach, Sam Kim, because he came over to ensure that this setup was working properly. He's an unsung hero in the Bakersfield Condors organization, kind of the Swiss Army knife who does everything. And so he came over to make sure this was working. We're socially distancing, but I'm going to treat him to some grilled pork tenderloin, some nice veggies, baked potato, and a nice salad.
Hey, Joe, just before we jump off here, a message to Condors Town. I know that it's kind of been a strange couple of weeks here for you, but I know you're excited about coming back and coming back out here and being a part of this organization. Just a message to those on the call.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, Condors Town, keep the faith, keep the spirits up, stay positive. We know everyone's struggling through these tough times right now, as we are as well. But I think it's important for all of us to stick together and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that this will pass. As Cooper Marody said, as I spoke to him yesterday, gave some wise words to me, little words from Jesus, as this too shall pass. We all stick together and through these tough times. I'm really looking forward to coming back next season. Thank you all for your support this season. Couldn't be where we are without you guys. You really are the backbone of this team, this organization, and more so the community as a whole. And from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you, Condors Town. Well
said, Joe. Well said. And for those on the call, we're starting to plan maybe a couple of these. So I know Jose, Rivera, Brooke, and Nathan will have emails out to everyone. So we're going to have some different faces, I think, on these. So hopefully we can do some more of these, catch up with some more players, more coaches here over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned in your emails. Tomorrow as well, too, Colonel's Caravan is going to make its second run. We'll have the map out, but if you look at our Facebook page, it's kind of around the Northwest and then finishing up kind of in the River Lakes clubhouse kind of area. So if you're in the area, drop by, join the caravan, and bring the kids, socially distance, and enjoy some Condors off the ice while we can. So Joe, Jay, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you back here in Condors Town and back at the rink, as soon as we possibly can. So appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Jay, I'll see you for dinner soon.
I like it.